where the ISUPK started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. And since 1969, we've been teaching so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They are the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel. You understand? Preaching Officer Shabal holding down the class tonight. You understand? If y'all could like and share the video, Bob Kashaw. Like I say every week, you know, brothers, not just in Vegas, you understand, but brothers everywhere where there's a school, whether it's Canada, UK, Brazil, you understand, Philly, Memphis, you know what I'm saying? Brothers put in a lot of work, you understand, to get these classes up and running, you know what I mean? The time that they spend behind the scenes putting together these topics and these scriptures and these breakdowns, you know what I mean? And the sole purpose of these classes is so that we can wake up our people, you know what I'm saying? We supposed to, you know what I'm saying, teach this truth out the four corners of the earth, you know what I mean? And how we do that is through liking and sharing these videos, you understand? Like I said, not just the videos in Las Vegas, you know what I mean, but the videos from all over the four corners, you know what I mean? So if y'all can like and share the class, Barbara Kashaw, this is the scripture breakdown class. So if anyone has any questions, if y'all can type them in. If anybody in the class has a question, just raise your hand. I'm gonna get that in a couple seconds. If nobody does have any questions, I'm gonna go into the topic, right? So there's two topics that I wanna touch on, right? I wanna finish up the class that I did a couple weeks ago on the spirit of zeal versus the spirit of a sluggard, and I also want to finish the topic that we started on last week. You know what I'm saying? Which is us being the salt of the earth. You know what I mean? So I give it a couple seconds. See if anybody has any questions. Let me see. Where did I leave off at? Okay. I don't see any questions on YouTube. Let's see. Go to Facebook real quick. See if any questions on Facebook. If there isn't, let's see. Okay. All right. You see any questions on Facebook? Yeah, I'm on YouTube right now. I don't see no questions on there. So if not, I mean, it's all good. Okay, since there's no questions, right? We're gonna go ahead and get into these topics, plural, right? And if you have any questions on the topics, you know what I'm saying, you can just type the question in, or if you have any questions outside the topic, you know what I mean, you can just go ahead and type them in as well, right? So we're gonna start with we're gonna finish up on the spirit of zeal versus the spirit of a sluggard, right? All right. You got them notes from that class? What was the last scripture that I pulled? I believe it was 1 Corinthians 16:10, right?
I just gotta find this like
if that's the case, let me get
Ephesians 6:12-13.
Okay, what was the one before that?
2 Corinthians 10:4.
And then what was the one before that?
Matthew 21:18.
Okay. So if we did Matthew 21:18, okay. Let's start there. Let's start there. Matthew 21:18. All right. Let's get Matthew chapter 21. We're gonna start at verse 18. Second. All right, 21:18.
21:18, sir.
Yeah, that's it. Bible shot.
All right. The book of Matthew, chapter 21, verse 18. Now, in the morning, as he returned into the city, he hungered. Verse 19. And when he saw a fig tree in the way, he came to it and found nothing thereon, but leaves only, saying unto it, let no fruit grow, and on thee henceforth forward forever. And presently the fig tree withered away.
Okay, so before you read on, right? If you go up to verse 18, this is Christ speaking, right? This is our King Yahushua that's speaking, right? It's saying, now in the morning, as he returned into the city, he hungered. Meaning what? He was hungry, right? Verse 19 says, and he saw a fig tree in the way. He came to it and found nothing thereon but leaves only, and said unto it, let no fruit grow on thee henceforward forever. And presently the fig tree withered away, meaning to this day, the fig tree withered away. Keep reading.
Come. And when the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, how soon is the fig tree withered away? Verse 21. Jesus answered and said unto them, verily I say unto you, if ye have faith and doubt not, ye shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree, but also if ye shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed and be thou cast into the sea, it shall be done.
All right, stop right there, right? So when you read this, right, why am I bringing this scripture out? Why did I bring these scriptures out? The reason why is because Christ cursed the fig tree.
Right.
That's the whole point of these few verses, right? Why did Christ curse the fig tree?
To show that if you had, because he was with the Most High and he trusted in the Most High, he had the power to pretty much make something like a miracle, perform a miracle to where someone, like if someone seen a fig tree and seen you tell it to stop growing or whatever, and it does it, then you would know that, this person has to have the Spirit of the Lord. You understand? That's true.
Hey, Shalom, good to see you. That's true, right? Think about the topic, right? The topic is we in Matthew's 21 and 18. Hey, it's like 1 second. All right, what's going on?
I was just finding out if I should just post up for sure about the door.
Nah. It's like she'll, you know what I'm saying? Somebody at the door, you know what I mean? She'll let us know. Right? So think about the topic that we're going on, right? We're talking about the spirit of zeal versus the spirit of a sluggard, right? Read verse 18 again, please.
Now in the morning, as he returned into the city, he hungered. And when he saw a fig tree in the way, he came to it and found nothing thereon, but leaves only, and said unto it, let no fruit grow on thee henceforward forever. And presently the fig tree withered away.
So why did Christ curse the fig tree? Officer. Okay, let me ask you this, right? Go ahead.
To make them because they were hungry. So to show them that if they're willing to starve or persevere.
Okay. What was the fig tree? What is the fig tree supposed to be doing?
Grow or being normal.
It's supposed to be. What is it supposed to be doing? You said grow. You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
And when Christ went to it, it was what? It was bare, right?
Yeah, right.
So what does that mean?
That it hadn't produced any fruit.
Which means it wasn't what?
A good tree.
Right. In other words, everything you said is true. In other words, how you want to say it is, the tree wasn't working. It wasn't doing work.
Right.
Because you got to think about it. The tree's job is to produce.
I got you.
You get my point?
Oh, so now I get it. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
So
go ahead, break it down.
To say, pretty much, if you're a person that's not putting in any work, you have no purpose. So therefore, you pretty much gonna wither away.
Thank you. That's it.
Oh, okay.
You get my point?
Yeah.
Because the part of this class that we're going on right now is the spirit of zeal versus the spirit of a sluggard.
Right. Okay.
You get my point?
Right. Okay.
So with that being the case, if Christ cursed the goddamn fig tree for not putting in no work, so if the tree wasn't putting in no work, that means the tree would be considered a sluggard, right?
Yeah.
So if the tree didn't put in no work and Christ cursed the goddamn tree for not producing no figs, what the hell do you think he'd do to you? That was the whole point of me bringing up these scriptures. That was Matthew 21, 18, and 19. I had you read 20. 20 don't really have nothing to do with it. It was more so 18 and 19.
Right.
You get my point? Yeah. Matthew 21, 18, and 19. Christ cursed that tree because that tree wasn't putting in no work.
Okay.
And as priests and prophets of the Lord, if we reach a certain status, if we get to the point to where brothers is saying, hey, good job, preach, you doing your thing. You get my point? Hey man, that was an excellent ass class. And you allow that shit to get to your head, right, and you start feeling yourself, or you get to a certain rank and you start to have that mentality, I done made it now. I can kick my feet up. And I'll live off the brothers under me, and I'll have them brothers doing the work, and I'll just sit back and I'll collect all the glory. You get my point? When you start to have that mentality, you're no different than this fig tree.
Right.
You get my point? Because you made it to that rank. You made it to that position. You got that authority. You know what I mean? You was given that zone or whatever the case may be. Based on what? Officer.
Put in work.
Exactly. So you put in work to get to that point. You can't get to that point and say, I made it now. I'm good. You get my point? Think about Michael Jordan in the late 80s, early 90s when he was going up against the Detroit Pistons. Who's familiar with the Jordan rules? You remember the Jordan rules, right? Yeah, you from Chicago, so I know you know about the Jordan rules, right? So what did Michael Jordan start doing in order to be able to get over the Detroit Piston hump?
Yeah, put in more work in
right.
the gym and lift weights and get stronger.
He did what?
He got stronger.
He got stronger, right? And he did what?
Put in more work in the gym.
Put in more work, right? Him putting in that work made him bigger, stronger, and tougher.
Right.
Now, mind you, he was a scoring champ on the all defensive team, the whole get down, right?
Yeah.
He still had to go back in there and get better. In other words, he didn't rest on the fact that, man, I scored 63 in a playoff game. You know what I mean? I did this, I did that. You get my point? He was able to win 6 titles in 8 years. Why?
Oh. But,
I mean, that's part of it. That's part of it.
He was because he never like slacked off on his work, his effort. He always put in maximum effort and tried to improve every day.
So if he put in maximum effort, that means he was working, right? So if he was working, what wasn't he?
Slacking off or
you almost said the word I was looking for.
Sluggard,
that's it. He wasn't a sluggard.
Right.
He couldn't have been. You cannot make it to that pinnacle. You know what I mean? And I'm only using this as an analogy. We're not here to big up, you know what I'm saying, all these, sports and all that stuff. Right. The point is that in order for these brothers to make it to that level, they have to put in max work. They can't be sluggards. You get my point? Steph Curry has that contract that he has, not because everybody like his baby face or they like that he grew his little afro out. Ain't got nothing to do with that. It's because this brother's work ethic. You get my point? Kobe Bryant became the player that he became after shooting them 4 air balls in a row in the playoff game. He went back in the lab and he kept working. You get my point? That's the thing. So you have to have that same mentality. You have to have that same spirit when you're doing the work of the Lord. You get my point? Going from a young man to a trooper, that's a glorious thing. Going from a trooper to an officer is also a glorious thing, right? You're an officer of 50 now. You get my point? Which means you have the authority over 50 men. You know what I'm saying? You will be in a position where you have to make decisions for 50 men and possibly women. You get my point? So do you go from there and say, well, shit, I'm an officer now. I'm good. I don't have to wear all black no more. I made it. I'm straight. You get my point? Nah. Because if you have that mentality, now folding up chairs is too much work for you. That's beneath you. You get my point? Sweeping the floor, cleaning the bathroom, that's too much work for you. You get my point? That's beneath you. You get what I'm saying? Now I don't have to watch classes no more because I teach class. I don't need to read. You know what I'm saying? I'm a teacher now. You get my point? And that's what'll start to happen. You get what I'm saying? If you have the spirit of a sluggard. But if you have the spirit of zeal, you'll say, man, being an officer of 50 is cool. You know what I'm saying? But now because I'm an officer of 50, I have to put in even more work because there's more responsibility on me. Then when you go from a 50 to a 500, Lord willing, yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And you're going to get props and everybody's going to big you up on Facebook and all that good stuff. And it's a beautiful thing. However, you're going to be expected to live up to the rank of a 500. And then 1,000 and 5,000 and so on and so forth. You get my point?
Right.
The work never stops. How do you know? Give me the best example as to how you know the work doesn't stop as you get rank. Officer.
Command General Honor.
That's the only answer you can give, right? Think about it. Who in Israel works harder than that man? Despite the fact that this brother has many men under him, he's still out there putting in work.
Right.
You get my point? Countless interviews, you know what I mean? Radio shows, sit-down videos. The brother's doing all kind of amazing things on top of all the work that he's doing behind the scenes, whether it's counseling, whether it's, you know what I'm saying, paying brothers rent, helping sisters get through school, whatever the case may be. You get my point? You look at General Muhammad. This man teaches 2 classes a week, 2 scripture breakdown classes a week, plus the radio show and the countless amount of counseling that he gives. You get my point? Now they've made it as far as when it comes to rank and authority and responsibility. Which one of them is laying down on the job? So the mentality that you have to have is, well, shit, if General Muhammad is putting in that kind of work, what's stopping me from putting in that kind of work?
Right.
You get my point? That's the kind of spirit that you want to have on. You get my point? And not just them. I mean, I can go down the line, but for time's sake, I won't. Y'all get the point though. Right. You get what I'm saying? Going up in rank doesn't mean that you can just kick your feet up and relax. You get what I'm saying? You have that spirit that led you to that rank is the same spirit that you have to have in order to go above and beyond that rank as well. Whether you get a rank raise or not, the work is still required of you.
Right.
It's like we here in Las Vegas, right? And Most High in Christ, you know what I'm saying? We had a hell of a barbecue weekend that was being talked about for days and days and days, right? We talked about that that barbecue was all over social media for days, right?
Right.
So because, hey, Shalom, it's good to see you. So let me ask you this, right? So because we put on such an excellent weekend, can we just now say, well, shit, barbecue over, man? We did that. And just kick back and just scroll through Facebook and look for pictures of us and brothers bigging us up and sisters talking about how good of a weekend they had? Nah, that was just the beginning. You get my point? Now there's even more work that has to be done. You get what I'm saying? And every brother in every zone has the same mentality. You get my point? Because the desire is supposed to be to continuously build the Lord's army. Why is it so important to continue to build the Lord's army? Why is that so important? Officer.
Because Christ waiting on us to come back, so he can come back to the army.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's part of it. But why else though? Anybody online want to take a shot? Why is it so important to build this army up? Officer.
Because ain't nobody gonna fight for us but ourselves, basically.
That's true too. Young man, you had your hand up. I seen you. What you got?
To come back to the Most High to serve him again.
That's true as well. Everything that y'all saying is true, right? But here's the thing. You want to take another shot?
Following the laws, statutes, judgments, and commandments.
That's true too. That's part of building the Lord's army up, right? Anybody online? Why is it? No. Well, that's true. That's true too. The sister said, does it have to do with the governing body? That's true too, but not necessarily, because when it talks about the 144, it doesn't mean that the 144 is all going to be alive. There's no scripture that said that the 144 is going to all come from the living. You get my point? So for time's sake, I'm going to give it to y'all. The reason why it's so important to continue to build up the Lord's army is, as we swell up our ranks, what are we doing?
We're building the kingdom.
That's true. If we're building the kingdom, what are we doing, officer?
Causing their kingdom to fall.
That's true too. That's an excellent point. What else are we doing? If we're swelling up our ranks, if we're building up our army, what are we doing, officer?
We are taking away from their army.
You own it. You right there.
We are
The sister's even closer.
Come back to rulership.
That's what happened as we build this army. When Christ returns, did you want to take a shot?
We're building the kingdom of the Most High. As we're building, we're building the Israelite kingdom.
That's true. You're everything that y'all said is true. You and the sister online was the closest, right? Getting ready for war. That's true as well. Let me give it to y'all, right? As we're swelling up our ranks, right? You said we're weakening their army. If we're weakening their army, how are we weakening their army? Because we're pulling men and women out of the world. Right. Think about it. If they're in here, they're no longer out there. Right. So if you take the drug dealers off the streets and you put them in here, what happens to the drug game?
Destroy.
You get my point? If you take the sisters off the stripper poles and you bring them in here, what happens to the stripper game? It's gone, right? So that's why we want to continue to swell up our ranks. Because the more building that we do, the more brothers and sisters that we bring in here, the more brothers and sisters that we're taking out of the world. You understand? That's why we have to keep working, keep working, keep working. We can have 50 people in here right now, and that wouldn't even be enough. You get my point? Why? Because what did Christ say? Paraphrasing, he said, I'm not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. There's still a whole bunch of lost sheep out there. How do you know? Because you're looking around. You get my point? You got all these fake Israelite groups running around. That's how you know brothers and sisters in the world are still lost, because they listening to Sakari. Right. If you listen to Sakari, you know you lost. You get my point? If you listen to GOCC after everything that Commander General Yana brought out the other day, you really are destroyed. Right. You get my point? That's why it's important for us to continue to build this army, and that's why we can't have the spirit of a sluggard. We have to continue to have that spirit of zeal, because with that spirit of zeal, we'll go out there and we'll continue to wake up more brothers and sisters, and our zeal will be infectious. And if we have that zealous spirit in us, right, then the men up under us, they'll have that same spirit of zeal as well, right? But what happens if we fish the brothers in, right? And then as we swell up our ranks, and you know what I'm saying, we now all of a sudden we got 30 brothers and 40 sisters, let's just say, right? What happens if we say, well, shit, man, Vegas is, we doing it. We did everything we set out to do. We booming, right? So what happens if we develop that mentality? Officer.
We set ourselves up to crumble again, basically, because now we're not doing like what NJ was doing, stronger and faster and tougher in the gym. You know, we're basically plateauing and becoming complacent.
Which means we turned into what?
Sluggards.
Exactly. Right. And if we turn into sluggards, what happens to everybody else?
They all follow suit.
Exactly. You get my point? Because if one becomes a sluggard, he might not say nothing, but he's sitting back and he watches like, damn, I remember that brother was teaching class every week. I remember that brother was always doing this and doing that. Now all of a sudden the brother ain't nowhere to be found. Now sometimes there are things that will come up, whether it's slavery, you might be in school, things happen, family emergencies, things do come up. But when this becomes a regular thing, you know what I mean? Then it's like, well, damn, what's going on? You get my point? Or if it's not a slavery, you're not in school. You get my point? It's not a family emergency. You just not coming around no more. Brothers and sisters will start to notice that, and they'll start to go as you go. You get my point? So that same spirit that you have when you come in here, that's the same spirit that you want to have, you know what I'm saying, as you continue to grow in this truth. If anything, your spirit and your zeal should get stronger. Right. Because as you start to go through the adversity, you become what? Battle tested. Right. To make it through the things that you're gonna make it that you're gonna go through in here, can't do nothing but make you stronger. How do you know? Think about everybody that's in here that went through their first year without Christmas. Think about how hard that was for some of us. Some of us just didn't give a fuck. Like, nigga, I don't give a fuck what y'all talking about. You know what I'm saying? To hell with your Christmas and everything. You get my point? But then some went through borderline depression because they wasn't going over their mama's house or their auntie's house or their sister's house or whoever. There was no tree. There was no gifts under the tree. You get my point? You seeing all these people going live on Facebook. You seeing all these motorcycles and mopeds and PS5s and all this stuff. And you sitting back like, damn, I remember I used to get all that stuff. I remember everybody used to be on me because I was the one that was spending all this money. Now you sit in the house by yourself.
Right.
You get my point? And that's the first year is hard. You get my point? New Year's Eve is what? Next so-called New Year's Eve is next week. And that first time for those who really cared about New Year's Eve, right? That was a big deal, especially out here in Vegas. I've never been out here for New Year's Eve, but I can only imagine it'd be stupid booming out here on New Year's Eve. I can only imagine.
Yeah, definitely.
So imagine being out here and you come into the truth and your first so-called New Year's in the truth comes up. And think about how hard that's going to be because your phone's going to keep ringing and ringing and ringing. Hey, we over here, pull up. Hey, we doing this, come pull up. And you're going to have to say, oh, nah, I can't make it. Oh, man, I ain't going to be able to do it. You get my point?
Right.
And it's going to suck the life out of you little by little because you're thinking about all the fun that they having, and then you start getting jealous because you're thinking about all the fun that you could be having and all the fun that you used to have. And if you're not strong enough, you'll get weak. And then you'll say, well, that's just one last time. One last time, I'm just going to go to one last New Year's Eve party. I'm going to go out on the strip one last time. What'd happen if you go out there that one last time? Officer.
You mess around and get attacked, into a fight. Police lock you up. You understand? The Lord could judge you in any kind of way. You understand? It could be your last night on earth.
Straight like that. It's that simple.
Right.
Everybody else around you is going to be functioning. You're going to take a drink or something that you normally drink, and you're going to die right there on the spot. It can happen like that. Precept. Anybody online? What's the perfect scripture to pull to prove that if the Lord wanted to kill you right there where you stand, he could do it?
Is it, if the trumpet is blown, and where it says if there's evil done in the city, have the Lord not done it?
That's a good one. There's one stronger than that one.
Make sure that your election is sure.
No. Officer.
Is it the one that I kill it to make it alive?
That's the one. Deuteronomy 32 and 39. All right, pull that real quick. That's what you want. Let's get that real quick. See what I'm saying? The Most High ain't playing. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of y'all that's watching this tape right now that's like, man, them niggas is crazy. Them the same niggas that said, you know what I'm saying, that you should take the vaccine. So why the hell would I listen to them? You get my point? Not knowing nothing about nothing. All they know is that's some crazy niggas that said to take the vaccine. So in their mind, what the hell do they know? Even though we're telling you not to celebrate Christmas because the Bible tells you not to celebrate Christmas. We tell you not to celebrate New Year's because the Bible tells you not to celebrate New Year's. Everything that we tell you not to do is because the Bible said that we're not supposed to be doing it. If you're a heathen, you can do whatever the hell you want. But if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American, you cannot do whatever the hell you want. How do you know that you can't do whatever you want if you're Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian? Or Native American, Sluggard? How do you know? Officer.
Because of the curses that we're under, because of the fact that we've been doing what we want.
You see what I'm saying? Think about that for a second. You get my point?
Right.
The reason why we're on the bottom is because we like to think that we can do whatever we want. The Most High is showing you that you cannot do whatever you want. You understand? You got it?
You said Deuteronomy.
I got it.
32 and 39.
Yeah, 32,
Please.
39.
Deuteronomy 32 and 39.
I can got it.
Come.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 39.
Uh-huh.
See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no God with me.
There's many gods.
There is no God with me.
There's Buddha.
There is no God with me.
There is Allah.
There is no God with me.
Why am I emphasizing that part? Officer.
Because we like to get into all these other gods and cultures.
That's exactly why. That's exactly why. Because I mentioned Buddha because we serve Buddha too. You get my point?
Right.
I mentioned Allah because we serve Allah too. What's the first thing that that a family member will say to you when you say you don't eat pork no more? What's the first thing they gonna say? Sis. Thank you.
Yeah.
You get my point? That's the thing. So we worship all these other gods, but read that again from the top.
See now that even I am he, and there is no God with me. I kill.
I do what?
I kill.
I do what?
I kill. And I make alive. I wound. And I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand.
There is many.
Any that can deliver out of my hand.
There's any that can deliver out of my hand. What is the Lord telling you? Go ahead.
I mean, if he wants you, if he want to take your life at any point, you understand, there's nobody that can stop it from happening.
Done.
There's nothing you can't pray to your Buddha, you can't pray to Allah, you can't rub your crystal or read your horoscope.
None of that.
None of that. Salaki, the Lord say, if that's what he wants to happen, that's exactly what
straight like that. And there's no getting around it. Another thing, I come right to you in a second. Another thing that it shows you is God is not all love.
Right.
This is a cut on multiple levels. For one, he's letting you know that there ain't no other gods. And since there ain't no other gods, you get my point? He's the one that's controlling everything. You get what I'm saying? And it also goes to show you that if he wants you to live, you're going to live. And if he wants you to die, God damn it, you're going to die. And there's no getting around it. You get my point? The reason why COVID is running rampant the way it is, because the Most High allows it to run rampant.
Right.
You get my point?
That's right.
Go ahead, sis.
So are you advocating that one should take the vaccine?
What we're saying is, if you're sick and you need to go to the doctor, you go to the doctor. If there's nothing wrong with you, why would you go? You get my point? That's like somebody that has asthma, right? Who have the, what are those things called? Inhaler, right? You're not having an asthma attack, right? You don't have no symptoms, anything going on, but you puffing on that inhaler all goddamn day. What are you doing that for if you're not having any symptoms related to your asthma? You see what I'm saying? That's the thing. Like if you don't have the flu, why would you be taking what's it called? Theraflu, right? You wouldn't take medicine unless you actually needed medicine. You see what I'm saying? So that's the same thing when it comes to the vaccine. You get my point? We're not telling nobody either way. We're not going out there making a decree. If you part of the 12 tribes, you gotta go get that vaccine. Ain't nobody teaching that in here. You get my point? But if you're sick and you got the goddamn COVID, you get my point? The smart thing to do would be to take it. You see what I'm saying? Come on with it.
I was gonna say Commander General Yohana made it clear
that
we're not promoting to tell anybody what to do.
Right.
When it comes to being vaccinated.
Right.
You understand? That's a choice up to you.
Yeah.
However, don't go around saying what conspiracies is in the vaccine.
Right.
And saying that's the reason why people shouldn't take it.
Right.
If you're not educated on what's going on with vaccination and
right.
stuff like that, to say, well, I'm not going to take it because that's what he's speaking. He's speaking on that we don't fear. We're not sitting around going with conspiracies on what's in the vaccine, how bad it is, and this and that. At the end of the day, in the school, if we want to take it, if we don't want to take it, it's our choice.
Right.
But we're not going to say, well, I'm not going to take it because it's baby fetus in the vaccine, because it's what else they say, pork in the vaccine.
Right.
And it's unlawful, and the Most High don't want us to take it.
Right.
So that's what it stands on. Nobody is ever saying, hey, go get your kid. Everybody in Israel must get a flu shot.
Right.
But if the government tells you your kid can go to school, you understand, without certain shots, without a TB shot, without, you know what I'm saying, getting hepatitis A, B, and C shots, you get what I'm saying?
Right.
At the end of the day, don't sit around and be like, well, you know, I'm not going to do it because my kid ain't going to go to school. You hinder your child from being able to, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Progress.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To get an education because
right.
of your foolishness toward the vaccine.
Right. Right. And not only that though, right? Not just with the vaccine. I'm talking about any type of medication. Right. I wouldn't give a damn what it was. You should always consult the doctor first.
Right.
Why? Because you might be allergic to something that's in whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's not get locked in on the COVID vaccine. Any type of medication. You get my point? There might be a herb out there that might give you a natural energy where it lasts for 12 hours. You just own it. It ain't drugs. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing illegal. It could be something natural, right? And it could give you like, you might get, strong as shit. You know what I mean? You got hella endurance, right? But in the midst of them processing and turning it from a plant to a pill, whatever they made that pill out of, you might be allergic to.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So when you go to the doctor and you say that you want this pill, he's going to ask you, okay, do you have any allergies? And if you say, I'm allergic to peanut oil, let's just say that this pill is coated in peanut oil. Are you still going to take it because it's going to give you 12 hours worth of energy? Nah, why wouldn't you? You get my, it's that simple. Before you do anything that has anything to do with medication or anything, you should always consult a doctor first. You get my point? You had your hand up?
I had a question about Ecclesiasticus 38 and 12. Would it be wise to use that precept to basically debunk whether or not they even put pork or anything else into the vaccines or any type of medication that we're technically not supposed to have, or any type of medications that we would take, but it has something in it that we ain't supposed to consume?
What is it?
Like,
Let me see. 38 and 12.
Ecclesiasticus 38 and 12.
Okay, let's see. Well, yeah. Well, the first thing you would do before you go to 12 is start at verse 1. Read Ecclesiastes 38 and 1. Let's start there.
All right, got it. Got it.
Okay.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 38, verse 1. Honor a physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which ye may have of him. For the Lord hath created him. For the Lord hath created him.
Drop down to verse 4.
The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth.
He's done what?
He has created medicines out of the earth. And he that is wise will not abhor them.
He will abhor him.
Will not abhor them.
He will not abhor them. You get my point?
Okay.
So that right there, I mean, think about it. Back when we were so-called free, did we not have our own doctors? We had our own everything, right? How'd they get there?
I mean, they studied and the Most High had appointed them into that position.
First and foremost, because the Most High appointed them there.
Right.
Okay.
Because we don't get this knowledge of anything without the Most High giving it to us.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So yeah, if you're a doctor, the Most High gave you the knowledge and gave you the wisdom and the understanding of these medical books in order to become a doctor.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? And so in order for anyone to say that any type of medicine, I don't care what it is, in order for you to say that something has something in it, what should you do first before you just blurt out and say, I'm not taking this because it has this in it or it has that in it? What's the first thing you should do?
Research it for yourself.
Exactly.
I got one more question along with that though. So if we're just to clarify so that I know I'm understanding. So even though let's say that it actually did have pork in it, but we're not eating, we're not consuming it into our bodies with the, basically with the lustful pleasure of wanting to eat the pork for medicinal reasons, like that in itself is lawful?
I would say no. What I would do is I would find a medication that is lawful. You get my point? Because the Most High knows that pork is unlawful.
Right.
So he's not going to just make one type of medication for us to take.
Right.
That's going to contradict what it is that he told us to not do. You get my point? Come on with
And
it.
that goes along with the scripture we just read in Deuteronomy. The Lord is telling you, He kill and make it alive. He healed and He wound, meaning like our healing process is part of Him, His will being done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like the brother bring it out, why would He put you in a situation where He know you in captivity where He's gonna make make us force us to break the law.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? With no way out. And I forget the precept where he say he always give you a way, whatever you're going through.
Right. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he give you a way to escape.
Right.
So if this vaccine was a mandated vaccine, and it is as harmful as everybody's saying it is, you don't think the Most High would give you a way to escape? I believe he would kill our enemies off for our sake before it ever came down to us having to take a vaccination that's going to kill. Or
we die honorable men and women,
right?
Just like the brothers and sisters in the Maccabees,
Right?
For not eating the pork.
Right.
You get my point? Let me get Matthew 6 and 10 real quick. Y'all understand why as soon as the brother read it. Whoever got it, just read it.
The book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 10. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven.
Read that part again.
Thy will be done.
Thy what?
Thy will be done.
Thy what?
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
Right.
Meaning what? Officer.
Whatever the Most High's will is, it will be done on earth.
Done.
As it is in heaven.
Done. Meaning what? Whatever the Most High's will is, that shall be done. So if you're supposed to die, the Lord's going to kill you. If the Lord wants to heal you, he will heal you. You get my point?
Right.
There's brothers and sisters that's in this school, you understand, who had COVID at one point or another.
Right.
And not nan brother or sister who got the shit died from it. Why? Because the Lord's will was for these brothers and sisters to be alive. Why? So that they can be able to say, I went through this and the Most High delivered me through this. You get my point? That's the whole thing about it. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, the Most High, certain things will happen to you, you know what I'm saying, so the Most High can show his power. You get what I'm saying? If you read John the 9th chapter, right? Let's get that real quick. Let's get John the 9th chapter real quick. And then from there we'll grab Romans. Let's get John the 9th chapter real quick.
John 9 what?
Let me see. Start at 1. Baba Kashaw.
The book of John, chapter 9, verse 1. And as Yahushua passed by, he saw a man which was blind from his birth. And his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?
So what's so significant about that part right there? When the disciples asked him, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Why is that so significant, officer?
Because this let you know that the disciples understood reincarnation.
They understood what?
Reincarnation or regeneration.
See what I'm saying? It's the simplest scriptures like that can debunk all these long ass videos and philosophies and what's the word of conspiracy theories and all that. Just reading that right there.
Right.
Well, I mean, of course, there's a whole bunch more, but y'all get the point though.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Keep reading.
God. Verse 3. Yahushua answered, neither hath this man sinned, nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him.
You get my point?
God.
That's the thing. The Most High, you know what I'm saying? Christ said out of his own mouth, you know what I'm saying? But that the works of the Most High should be made manifest. Meaning what? This man was born blind. Go ahead.
I was going to say, was it to show, like at that period of time, the Lord made him blind because he knew Christ and him would one day come to that man and show you that he could make him see? Is that the works that he's talking about? Like, meaning like he's born, he didn't sin nor his parents sin. So he was solely created blind. You understand? So that when the disciples came to him and Christ healed them, he would know that they would know that Christ had the power to.
You can say that exactly. Like that's how you would know that the Lord was with him. Why?
Right.
Because nobody else was able to heal him.
Right.
You get my point? Brother was born blind.
Right.
But here comes Yahushua. Here comes our King. And what did he do? He made that man to see. You get my point? You think about all the lepers that he healed.
Right.
You get my point? All these things were done in order to show that the Most High is with this man. You get my point? Drop that. Let's go to Romans chapter 9. Let's see. Verse. Oh yeah.
18.
Verse 7. No, he started at 17.
The book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 17. For the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. Verse 18. Therefore hath he mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he will harden it.
You get my point? That's it. That's it. You get what I'm saying? This is the Most High saying he have mercy on whom he will have mercy, and on whom he will harden it. He raised Pharaoh up to destroy Pharaoh.
Right.
And in the midst of him destroying Pharaoh, that did what for us?
It showed us the works of the Most High, so it lifted us up.
Right. That's true. And also freed us.
Right.
You get my point? It freed us. You get what I'm saying? Although eventually, because of our hard-headedness, we wanted to go back because that's what we do. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
But it doesn't change the fact that he lifted him up to tear him down. What does that sound like today?
Music industries like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, but even deeper than that.
America.
That's it. That's part of it. You're right. And the music industry is put on a pedestal. You're right. You know what I'm saying? But where's the music industry being put on the pedestal at? In America, right? So without America being lifted up, the music industry couldn't be lifted up.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And so because of that, you know what I'm saying? It's all being lifted up. It reminds you of Egypt. Remind you of Babylon. You get my point? It reminds you of all these former treasure cities. And all you gotta do is look at the condition of those places now.
Right.
That's the same thing that's gonna happen to America. You get my point? The Most High allowed Donald Trump to be in office for a reason. You get what I'm saying? He allowed Barack Obama to be in office for a reason. You get my point? And on and on and on and on. You get what I'm saying?
Did you want me to select read 19 because it talks about the same thing with his will?
Yeah, you can read it.
All right. Verse 19. Thou wilt say unto me, why doth he find fault? For who hath resisted his will?
For what?
For who hath resisted his will?
For who hath resisted his will? Listen, man, if the Most High said, man, that's what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's nothing that you can do. You get my point? So for those who love Esau and wants to say Esau's so goddamn bad, the Most High is letting you know Esau don't stand a shot.
Right.
And it starts all in this chapter. You go back and read Romans, the 9th chapter. You understand? You'll go back and you'll see that the Most High has no love for Esau. And rightfully so, though, right? Why should he? Which is what I'm gonna present to y'all in a rhetorical way. Why should we? Think about it. Listen, man. We didn't blew our 401k. When I say we, I'm talking about us as a nation. We didn't blew our 401k behind some punk ass Christmas tree and some funky ass gifts.
Right.
You get my point? For what? Think about it. Them kids gonna open up them presents, and initially they're gonna be happy as hell. They're gonna be so excited, they're gonna be thankful and all that good stuff, right? But what happens when a month go by? And 2 months go by? And 3 months go by? Whatever it is that you bought is either gonna be torn up or thrown up under the bed some goddamn where, because it don't matter to them no more. Because now it's time for more new stuff. Meanwhile, here you are, still trying to pay your light bill, still trying to put that 401k money back, you understand? And still trying to pay whatever other bills that you blew off. Why? Because our oppressor told us, you know what I'm saying, to celebrate Christmas. And because we love following after the ways of the oppressor, we follow suit. let's just say that Christmas was lawful. Let's just say, and I'm trying to make that very clear so nobody trying to chop this tape up. Let's just say Christmas was lawful. We can't afford Christmas.
Right.
You get my point? Esau can afford Christmas all day long. You get my point? In order for us to do Christmas, we literally have to break ourselves. You taking out all kind of payday loans. You taking an extra mortgage out on your goddamn house. You see what I'm saying? You borrowing against your car. You get what I'm saying? You tapping into your 401k. You going into your IRA, whatever the case may be. You coming up with all this money for one day out the year. And I really didn't plan on touching on Christmas that much because after General Muhammad's class, I mean, what more needs to be said about Christmas? You get what I'm saying? That class was excellent as always, and what he brought out is undeniable and it's indisputable. You get my point? But I'm just saying though, like if you just think about it, following after the ways of the heathen has never gotten us anywhere. That's why we're so destroyed as a nation to this day, because we continue to think that the ways of the white man or the Arab man or whoever the case may be, that's the way to go. When if you just look at our history, you know what I'm saying, following the ways of the heathen has never been a way for us, because again, that's why we're always on the bottom.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So if anyone has any question on what we just went over right now, let me know. If not, we're gonna go to Matthew 24 and 45. Let's get that. Matthew chapter 24, verse 45. We're gonna go back into this topic. I had a couple more scriptures on the spirit of zeal versus the spirit of a sluggard, and then we're gonna go back into the salt of the earth, unless someone has anything else that they want to speak on. Right? It says that toys gonna be broken and lights off. I mean, what the sister said is on point. Toys gonna be broke and the lights off, eviction notice on the door, and your car getting repoed. It's sad to say, but that's a lot of our futures. 3-day notices. You get my point? You come outside to go to your slavery and there's no car there. Why? Because it got impounded. Why? Because you didn't make the car payment. You get what I'm saying? Not because, you know what I'm saying, it's hard. Not just because it's hard in the yard, but because Christmas wasn't more important than paying your bills. You get my point? Let's get that. Matthew chapter 24, verse 45. Let me get there with y'all. 24. Yeah, let's get that.
God. The book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 45. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season? Blessed is that servant, whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing.
Shall do what?
When he cometh, shall find so doing. Verily I say unto you, that he shall make him ruler over all his goods.
Drop down to verse 50.
Verse 50. The Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him, and in an hour that he is not aware of.
Okay, so if you skip up to 45, right, it says, who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season, right? How do you become a ruler over a household? How does the Lord make you a ruler over a household?
By showing, by first putting in the work.
That's it right there. Keep going.
And pretty much showing that you can handle the workload that's been given to you.
You get what I'm saying? He chose you because you was qualified to do the work. You were qualified based on the work that you were doing.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? In order to be Lord over a household, it doesn't necessarily be like your physical household. It means doing the work. You get what I'm saying? You want more rank, you're gonna get that rank based on the work you're putting in. You get my point? If you yourself think that you're deserving of a rank raise and you're not getting that rank raise, more time than not, it's because you're not putting in the work. You see what I'm saying? And in verse 50 it said, the Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him, and in the hour that he is not aware. Keep reading.
Verse 51. And shall cut him asunder.
It shall do what?
Cut him asunder. And appoint him his portion with the hypocrites.
What does that mean? It says the Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him. What does that mean?
It'll be at a time that like it's least expected.
Exactly.
So like when you're in the midst of eating pork chops or something like that, and you ain't thinking about it, it's gonna be a time like that he comes and gets gets
right. Go ahead.
Or that's definitely right. And I was gonna add to it to say, it's just like when you at work, you know what I'm saying, and your boss, he always catch you at that moment, right? When you ain't doing like you be working hard, looking around, making sure he see you and he don't see you. Right. That 1 minute you slack up, you know what I'm saying? Right. That's the time you be like, damn, he looking at me. He saw me not doing nothing for 2 minutes. Right. And that's what it's pretty much saying. That time, if you got that spirit of that sluggard, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna show when you least expect it. When Christ comes, he's gonna come at that time when you're not expecting him to come. He's gonna see you not doing the work that you're supposed to do. And that's the point. What everything that y'all said is exactly what I was looking for, right? Because it said, "And shall cut him asunder." Why would he cut him asunder? Why is he gonna cut him asunder? It's like, what does asunder mean? Let's look it up.
He was unfaithful. That's why he cut him asunder. He didn't do what he was supposed to do.
You're right. Let's look up the word, but you're right though, right? Bring me home though. What you said is true. Why did he cut him off though?
I have it.
Let me get it.
Asunder, adverb. Apart, divided, and then the second definition is into pieces.
Into pieces, right? He cut him asunder, right? He cut him to pieces, right? Why though? Which means he was a what? That's what I was looking for. The sisters on it, man. That's exactly right. Because he was being a sluggard. These scriptures that I'm going over right now is as you read them, because I know for some that came in a little late, this topic right here, before we went into some of the other scriptures, we're talking about the spirit of zeal versus the spirit of a sluggard, right? So as you read as you listen to these scriptures, you'll be able to interpret, okay, that brother has zeal. And then there's certain scriptures as you hear, you'll be like, that brother's a sluggard. You get my point? So as I read that, you automatically picked up on it. He got cut asunder because he was a sluggard. You know what I'm saying? You avoid being cut to pieces by doing the work. That's how you avoid that, right? Let me get Proverbs chapter 13, verse 4. Let's get that real quick. This is a good one right here. I mean, this one right here, like, kind of speaks for itself. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 4. Let's get it.
I got it.
Read it when you got it, please.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 4. The soul of the sluggard desire and hath nothing. But the soul of the diligent shall be made fat.
Read it again from the top.
The soul of the sluggard desire and have nothing.
Break it down. What's happening there, officer? What's going on there?
He's saying basically pretty much like if you got the spirit of a sluggard, you're gonna always constantly desire to be great. You won't be able to come into it because you're not able to put in the work.
It's not that you're not able. Everything that you said was right, but you're not what?
You're not working, or you're not. I'm not sure.
You're not willing to put in the work. You was right. You get my point? It said the soul of the sluggard desireth and have nothing. Come on with it.
He would always be poor because he's never working.
Right, and not just poor financially, but more importantly, poor spiritually. Sisters on it. You get my point?
Yeah.
So you're saying that you want to be a priest and prophet. You're saying that you want to be a priest and prophet. You saying that you want to do the work of the Lord, but yet every time a brother call you, your phone going straight to voicemail. Every time a brother call you, hey man, pull up, man. You know what I'm saying? We finna go do this flyer campaign. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, man. There was an event. There's an event that's going on downtown, man. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna go do some interviews, man. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna go do a camp. We're gonna set up camp, and we finna get down right here. Oh man, if you would have called me about 15 minutes earlier, man. You know what I'm saying? I was with it, but and making all these excuses. You get what I'm saying? This scripture is twofold.
Right.
Because like you said, he'll always be poor. You get my point? The reason why this sister was able to start her business, you know what I'm saying? Sister X is right there for those that don't know. The reason why this sister was able to build up her business from the ground up is because she's not a sluggard. But not just that, though. The reason why her business is going to be profitable is because she's not a sluggard in the work of the Most High. You get what I'm saying? So this part right, this whole scripture is twofold. Because if you want to get anything in life, and I don't mean like unlawfully, of course, but I'm saying if you want to get anything, you got to work for it. You get my point? Including the twofold is, if you're trying to get the kingdom of heaven, you have to work for it. You get what I'm saying? Christ put in work. That's what Christ was known for, putting in work. That's what he did. Paul was known for putting in work. You get my point? Paul took beatings. Paul went to jail. Paul went through hell for the work. You get what I'm saying? That's the same mentality that we have to have. You get what I'm saying? Read the rest of it.
But the soul of the diligent shall be made fat.
You get my point? Everything that I just said, you just summed it up right there. But the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. Meaning what? If you're about this truth, if you're about putting in the work, guess what? You know what I'm saying? You'll be over Henderson. You know what I'm saying? You'll be over Southern Nevada. You get my point? You'll take over Utah. You know what I'm saying? Wherever the hell. You get my point? Your business might start in Vegas, but a year later, you know what I'm saying? You got a global goddamn company. You know what I'm saying? Under the authority of the Most High, because with that business, you're gonna pay your 10%.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? You're gonna help build up the schools. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna help make sure that the school has toilet paper and waters and canned goods and things like that. You get what I'm saying? They both go hand in hand. You get what I'm saying? You had your hand up?
No, I was just gonna say that when it says like be made fat, it's just saying you're gonna see the gains. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
See it
Absolutely.
coming into, like you said, to fruition.
Exactly.
That work.
Yeah. Yeah, it don't mean literally fat like me.
Yeah.
Nah, I ain't talking about that. Nah.
Nah.
I ain't talking about like me. Nah. It's talking about the fat meaning like you're gonna see the increase.
Right.
You get my point? Let me get Proverbs chapter 20, verse 4. Let's go there. Go there real quick. Lord willing, I got some more time because I really want to get into the salt of the earth, man, because when you see everything that's going on, it speaks for itself. So Lord willing, I have time to get into that. I got a couple more scriptures on the spirit of zeal versus the spirit of a sluggard, and then we're gonna go into the other part unless anybody has any questions outside of these topics.
Sure.
So we always have excuses. The sister online is on point too. Said a sluggard always have excuses on what he can't do versus on what he's willing to do by putting in work. That's what it is. Like I'm out here in Vegas. You know what I mean? And we don't have a lot of brothers yet. We don't have a lot of sisters yet. But the few brothers and sisters that we do have is willing to put in that work.
Right.
That's why with the small amount of brothers and sisters that we have, we're able to, you know what I'm saying, get things done. You know what I'm saying? We do the work of twice of the men and women that we have. You get what I'm saying? That's because we have the zeal and the spirit to do the work that's required of us. Even when it's hard, we still find a way to get it done. You get my point? If we had the spirit of a sluggard, we would never get anything done. You get my point? You think about it. Captain Tazariak out there in New York. You know what I'm saying? Because of his zeal, New York is what it is. He was given an order to build up New York. There was no New York before Captain Tazariak. Of course, under the authority of the Most High in Christ, of course. But the point is, the Most High saw it fit in that man to build up New York. And now when you look at New York, you got Syracuse, you got Hudson Valley, you got Jersey, you got all these different places. You get what I'm saying? That all fall up under that New York umbrella. You get my point? You look at the Captain Mashak, you know what I'm saying? How he was able to build up the islands. You get what I'm saying? Right. But that brother's in DC, mind you. You get my point? Because he has the zealous spirit on him to do the work that was required of him. You know what I'm saying? Brothers like that, you know what I'm saying, is why the truth is able to thrive, because brothers is willing to put the work in, even when physically it's like, man, it can be a burden sometimes. You get my point? But the thing about it is, when you get that oil poured on your head, you're saying, I'm ready to work. It's that simple. You get what I'm saying? And for anyone that's not willing to work, don't get the oil poured on your head. You can watch on. You can continue to be a student online and check in and pay your tithes and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? Come to the barbecues, come to the the Passover and all that good stuff. You can be that brother. You can be that sister. Or you can say, you know what, man, I'm ready to put my brick in. What do you need from me? What can I do? You get my point? And that's what separates us from everybody else. The willingness and the desire to put the work in when no one else is willing to put the work in. You get my point? Let's get that. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 4.
God. Book of Proverbs, chapter 20, verse 4.
Uh-huh.
The sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold.
Read that again.
The sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold.
Uh-huh.
Therefore shall he beg in harvest and have nothing.
Man, somebody break that down, please. Officer, give it to me.
Basically, it's just saying that the sluggard's spirit is going to make an excuse, i.e., it being cold outside. And so since you're not going to do put in the work because of whatever the excuse is, you're not going to have what you need to, basically survive. And so he's going to be begging for everybody else, basically, to mooch off of their work.
Right, exactly. I wanted you to finish it. I'm glad you did. You get my point? Because it says it right here. You get what I'm saying? You got something?
We have to make an example of looking at the ant. He's constantly working all year round.
Right.
And so he's at work at all times.
Absolutely.
So we must make them our example of how we think and our work ethic.
No, you're absolutely right. And that what you said is biblical. We pulled that in last week's class where we was talking about the ant in, I believe it's Proverbs 6 and 6. So what you said is 100% correct. You get my point? Like when you read Proverbs 20 and 4, right? It almost sounds like the parable that Christ gave about the 10 virgins. The 5 went and got oil for their lamp. Right. The other 5 didn't. And what did the other 5 that didn't get the oil do? What did they do?
From the ones that had oil in their lamp.
You get my point? So what happened? So based on what we talking about, you had 5 women that had the spirit of
Zeal.
And then you have 5 women that had the spirit of a sluggard. And that's how you tie it all together. You get my point? Just like that. You get what I'm saying? Come on with it.
So in that parable, essentially, he's saying in order for you to get the kingdom of heaven, you have to have the spirit of zeal,
right,
and be prepared. Which the spirit of zeal is going to cause you to be prepared,
right?
Because you're constantly working, like
right,
I said, we're improving,
right.
That's how you're going to get the kingdom of heaven.
Exactly. Yeah. Think about it. Because if we all sat around and said, man, I hate being in captivity. Man, I wish Christ would come back and save us from the hell that we in. But yet,
ain't doing that.
Exactly. We ain't teaching no classes. You get my point? We ain't doing no fly camping. We ain't going to camp. You know what I'm saying? We ain't doing nothing. We just sitting around saying, damn, man, when Christ gonna come back? He ain't gonna get nowhere like that. You get my point? But if you sit there saying, man, what can I do to provoke the Most High to send Christ back? Now you're on the right track. Now you're on the right path. You get my point? Now you cooking. You know what I'm saying? It has to be that spirit. It has to be that mentality.
Right. Because
that mentality will say, well, damn, okay, let me contact the ISUPK in my city. Then I'll start coming to class. And then I'll start to shed myself of the world. Because the thing about it is, if you're still in the world, you're no good to us.
Right.
Why?
Because, we're trying to walk a straight and narrow path and, build up the Lord's army. If you got one foot in and being in the world's army and one foot in with us, that's you are sundering yourself, basically. You splitting yourself up.
Right.
We can't even count you as one of our, as one of ours.
Yeah. No, that's 100. Did you want to say something?
You have one foot in the world and one foot out here.
Lukewarm.
They have to be hot or cold.
Right. You get what I'm saying? And to wrap up what y'all both just said, if we allow brothers and sisters to come in here and have one foot in here and one foot out there, what do we become? That's true. That's true. That you kind of own it, obviously.
Now we become lukewarm.
That's true. And if we become lukewarm, we become what?
Hypocrites.
Right. And if we become hypocrites, we become
Wicked.
and if we become wicked, we become
Sluggard.
if we are lost, we're the equivalence of
False prophets.
you more own it. And if we are false prophets, we are the equivalence of
The Christian church.
that's what the hell I wanted. Get a brother a hand. How would you sum all that up? That's the Christian church. Think about it. If we're if all we do is teach to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, if that's all we pushing, brotherhood and sisterhood, if that's all we pushing, right, to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, but yet we let our brother come in here with a shape up, or we let a known whore who's in here got pregnant and went and got an abortion and came back to class. If you're allowed to be here for 6 months, 8 months, a year, you still got dreads. Despite us telling you how unlawful those dreads are, what makes us any different than the Christian church? You said false prophets, you said wicked, right? That's the Christian church. You get my point?
Right.
What will make us any different if we tolerate the same thing that they tolerate?
Right.
We have to be different. We are different. You know what I'm saying? Because what we saying to someone in the world, what we're saying to a sluggard is a hard pill to swallow. You get my point? There's some lazy nigga sitting there right now who probably lives 10 minutes from a school. And because it's snow in his driveway, he won't go to class. Or because he think he's too good to get on the bus, he won't come to class. You get my point? There's some sister who is too prideful to cover her head that won't come to class. You get my point? When in reality, being here saves you from all the drama in the world.
Right.
Because what starts to happen is you start to cut off all that. You start to cut out the cancer out of your life. Whether it's your mom, whether it's your brother, it could be your sister. You get my point? It could be your best friend who you thought was your best friend who never had your best interest in mind, who was jealous of you the whole goddamn time. And all she did was give you bad advice. You get what I'm saying? It could be her. You get what I'm saying? Or it could be that nigga that was always talking you to go do missions with him. You get what I'm saying? As you come in here, you start to shake off the dust, man. You start to wake up. You know what I mean? And you start to put on the armor of the Most High. You get what I'm saying? I got one last scripture on this, and then we're gonna go into our other topic. Right? Let me get Proverbs chapter 19, verse 15.
19 and 15, sir?
Uh-huh.
Okay. The book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 15.
Give it to me.
Slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep,
Uh-huh.
and an idle soul shall suffer hunger.
And an idle soul shall suffer hunger, right? It says slothfulness casts into a deep sleep, right? What kind of sleep is that talking about?
Is it like a spiritual sleep?
That's it. You get my point? Why does it put you into a into a spiritual coma? How?
Because now you're not putting any work to strengthen and toughen up your spirit.
Right.
You're complacent. You're in one spot.
Right. That's why it says, "In the idle soul shall suffer hunger."
Right.
You get what I'm saying? If you constantly putting in work, you know what I mean? You'll never be hungry, spiritually speaking.
You have to have knowledge behind that.
Yeah. Right. Right. Exactly. You get my point. But in order to get that knowledge, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be willing to come to class. You get what I'm saying? Now, if you're in a city where there is no school, right? Then you start watching classes online, right? But then you become the school in that city. Officer Galawan out there in Trinidad, he's a perfect example. He was the only one out there. And now look, now you got ISUPK Trinidad and Tobago. I remember that brother, because me and him came in like around the same time. And I remember that brother's slave name. And that brother was checking in every goddamn online class. And now look at him. He got an army up under him. Why? because he's not a sluggard.
All right.
You get what I'm saying? That zeal is still there. You get my point? I've been around this brother right here for several years now, and that brother's zeal is still there. You get my point? Despite all the hardships and all the bullshit this brother has been through in his life, this brother's still here. The brother still can be counted on. You know what I mean? This brother right here, I mean, don't even get me started on this brother right here. He's still here. Why? Because they have the spirit of zeal versus the spirit of a sluggard. Because these brothers had the spirit of a sluggard, they just give up. Too much going on in my life, man. Shit is hard right now. Life was easier when I was getting high all the goddamn time. You get my point? Why not just go back to doing that? You know what I'm saying? The brother say you reap what you sow. Absolutely. That's another brother that I've been knowing for a while. You know what I mean? That brother knows. You get what I'm saying? If you have the spirit of a sluggard, you're gonna get the return of a sluggard. You get what I'm saying? But if you have the spirit of zeal, then you'll get the return of zeal. You get what I'm saying? It's gonna take some work. But at the same time, no, we were built for this. Because our forefathers did it. How you know? Because we reading about them.
Right.
That's how you know. You get what I'm saying? There's excellent men and women in this book that we supposed to read about, learn about, you know what I'm saying? And use that as the fire or as logs to keep our fire burning. You get my point? When you read about Ezekiel and Daniel and Isaiah and of course Yahweh, of course, those are supposed to be logs that you're throwing into your fire to keep your fire burning.
All right.
You get my point? That's why we're here. You get what I'm saying? Some of us got to get up and go to the slave in the morning. You get what I'm saying? Some of us got, kids at home, all kind of stuff going on. But the spirit of zeal in you supersedes all those other things. You get my point? Give me Matthew 6:33 real quick, and then we're gonna drop this. Let me get that. This is why brothers and sisters still come to class. This is why brothers and sisters will still go put that work in, despite everything that they got going on in their life.
6:23, sorry.
6:33.
Oh, 33.
The book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 33. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness.
And what?
And his righteousness. And all these things shall be added unto you.
You know what I'm saying? This right here, man, this breakdown starts at verse 24 and it goes all the way to verse 34. Lord willing, you know what I'm saying? I might teach on the next week, you know what I'm saying, or this breakdown. This is a breakdown that brothers and sisters have heard several times before, but it's one of my favorite breakdowns. It really is, man. This right here, after reading this, man, it really should do something for you. And you start when you start at verse 24 and you read all the way through, it should really do something for you. But the bottom line is, seek ye first the kingdom of God. That's why we're here. It was cold. It was cold, wasn't it? It's still cold, ain't it? But you didn't use that as an excuse to not be here. You didn't know that we was cooking. You didn't know we had food in there. You didn't know nothing about none of that. What time is class and what's the address? That's what this sister said.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Brothers got slaveries. You know what I'm saying? Brothers coming from all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Brothers stopping what they doing, you know what I'm saying? To make sure that they're here on time to get things set up. Why? Because the kingdom of God and this righteousness supersedes the things that are in the world. You get my point? Did anybody have any questions on the topic that we just went over right now? Questions, comments, anything concerning the topic that we just went over right now? If not, let's go. Okay, let me see something. All right, let's see. What was we at? Let's go to let's go to John. I think we did this one last week. Let me read it real quick. I think we went over this one last week. Let me see something. Let me see something real quick. Give me 1 second. Let me see something. John. Let's see something. I want to say we went over this last week. Yeah, we did, but we're gonna start right here, right? So now we're transitioning. Unless anyone online has any questions, any comments or anything, we're gonna transition from we're off the topic of the spirit of zeal versus the spirit of a sluggard, and then we're gonna finish last week's class, which is us being the salt of the earth. When I say us, I'm talking about the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We are the salt of the earth. You get what I'm saying? Without us, this place is nothing. You get my point? But because of our desire to serve these other gods, you know what I'm saying? We're constantly losing that salt. You get what I'm saying? Come on with it.
I want to say something.
Uh-huh.
To show us how we know that we are the salt of the earth, out of the spiritual world. Even the wicked world, we are on top and everyone wants to be us.
Right. That's an excellent point that you just brought out, right? Because we was talking about that last week, right, Bakar? We was talking about the fact that even if you want to go on the left hand side, right? And this is why the white man uses us as pawns. You get my point? Because think about it. If some corny ass white boy, let's just say he was a celebrity, right? If some corny ass white boy that played in the NBA, right? And he started doing all his press conferences with a backpack on, right? We'll laugh at him, right?
Yeah.
We'll clown him. But Kevin Durant did it, and everybody started doing it. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
If some cornball ass white boy started wearing pink, we would have crushed him. We would have clowned him. But when Cameron started wearing pink, it became cool.
Right.
Not to us, of course. We didn't start doing it, but y'all get the point, though.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
One more scripture.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't remember exactly where it was, but it says, because of the fall of us, the riches of us, how is that scripture? Make them rich. The fall of us make them rich. I can't remember the scripture. Anyone remember?
All right, look that up for me.
Go.
Look that up, and then when you got it, just raise your hand. And the Facebook kicked me off. Oh, I know what happened. Battery getting low. All right, yeah, well, ain't no thing. I'm familiar with the scripture, but I do not know where it is off the top of my head. Let me go back. All right. So let's get let me get John chapter 8 verse 12. Let's get that.
Akim got it.
For time's sake, yeah, just reading when you got it. We got about 30 minutes left.
The book of John, chapter 8, verse 12.
Then
spake Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life.
What is the light of life? Officer.
The righteous path and follow the law, statutes, and commandments.
That's it. That's you know what I'm saying? That's the light right there. Without the law, statutes, and commandments, we're what? We're in darkness, right? And if we're in darkness, we're doing what? We're committing all acts of wickedness, right? That was John 8 and 12. Right? Think about it, right?
So, Sluggard,
yeah, come on with it.
So Christ is basically saying, in order for you to know how to righteously execute the law, statutes, and commandments in your life, you have to be able to follow him, his example.
Do as he do.
As he did.
On a cornier Christian side, I really hate using this, but as an example, and it's funny because they don't do it. You know what I mean? But I remember at one point in time, I don't know if y'all remember this or not, but at one point in time, everybody had them stickers in their window. Right, the WWJD. They had the wristbands, they had them little rubber things, they had the shit in their window, they had all those things, right? But that's the Christian side of it. But in reality, that should be our mentality. But we wouldn't call him Jesus. We call him Yahushua, right?
Right.
And that's supposed to be our whole mindset. We're supposed to conduct ourselves the way Yahushua conducted himself. You understand? You had your hand up?
I believe I found the scripture says.
Let's check it out.
The book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 12. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness?
Let me get that. Where you at again?
Romans 11 and 12, sir.
Yeah. It says, okay, now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? Let me see something. Gentiles, in as much as I am. Okay.
Through our fall,
Uh-huh.
they have gotten rich. And how we know that? An example is the music industry.
Right.
Everything, even our inventions, everything that we do, because of our fall of being disobedient to the word of the Most High, they gain riches.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. If you think about it, right, they're not supposed to be running anything.
Right.
You get my point? Like, if you think about all these artists that got played out of their masters, you get my point, then had to sell a catalog because they signed some bullshit contract because they grew up in the hood, they grew up poor. You know what I mean? And they thought, man, this record deal will help me and my family. You get my point? And then 5 years later, unless they sign with their masters, they got nothing. You get my point? In our wickedness, you understand, like you said, we by us lowering ourselves, we lifted them up at the same time. You get my point? So yeah, that's an excellent point. Right. From there, let me get
What
John.
was that,
Uh-huh.
Romans what?
Let me see something. I believe that Romans 11 and 12. Romans 11 and 12. Let me get John chapter 12 verse 35.
The book of John, chapter 12, verse 35.
Uh-huh.
Then Jesus said unto them,
Uh-huh.
Yet a little while is the light with you.
Uh-huh.
Walk while ye have the light,
Uh-huh.
lest darkness come upon you.
Uh-huh.
For he that walketh in darkness knoweth not whither he goeth.
Right.
Verse 36.
Uh-huh.
While ye have light, believe in the light, that ye may be the children of the light.
That ye may be the children of the light. You get my point?
Uh-huh.
So the thing about it is, what Christ is saying is, while I'm with you, follow me. You know what I'm saying? I'm the example. Do as I do. He's telling them that he's only going to be there for so long, because he knew what his mission was. But in the midst of his mission, he was supposed to be the example that everyone else was supposed to follow. You get my point? Christ never lost his salt. And because Christ never lost his salt, right, he never lost his savor or flavor, how we would say it today, right?
Right.
Somebody give me some examples, you know what I'm saying, of brothers or sisters who may have lost their salt or who are not walking in the light, but rather walking in darkness.
Nathaniel at IUIC,
Mhm.
Sakari.
Uh-huh.
If you in GOCC, if you in Sakari, if you in IUIC.
Yeah. You're definitely walking in darkness. Come on with it.
Pretty much the Christian pastors like T.D. Jakes,
Definitely.
Creflo Dollar, and all them, black pastors and stuff.
Definitely.
Your local pastor.
Yeah, definitely.
Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade, y'all seen his son?
Oh yeah,
Man.
Today,
You seen that? You seen his son? His son sitting there with blue hair, sitting there with a little mini skirt on, with his legs crossed, like a female.
Right.
He does everything that a female would do. You get my point? If that's not an example of a brother, losing his salt, shit, tell me what is.
Right.
You get my point? That's how you know that brother done lost all his salt. You know what I'm saying? Not only, you know what I'm saying? He lost his salt because he let his, you know what I'm saying? He allows his son to conduct himself as a woman or as a little girl. But how else, anybody knows anything else about Dwayne Wade, how else has the brother lost his salt?
I mean, he pretty much let his woman rule over him.
That's it. That's it. Because he allows the woman to rule over him.
Right.
These women pastors, they for sure not in order at all. You get what I'm saying? So the thing about it is, right? Dwayne Wade, I'm glad that y'all said Dwayne Wade. I'm glad that we mentioned him just for the simple fact that brother has no salt left. None. He ain't walking in no light.
Right.
You know what I mean? That brother's walking in nothing but pure darkness. Hey, boy, I appreciate it. You get what I'm saying though? Like, these are the brothers that we're not supposed to follow after. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, the brother was a hell of a ball player. Can't take nothing from him on the court. But off the court, that brother's walking in pure darkness. You get what I'm saying? Who else is walking in darkness?
Michael Johnson's son.
Yeah. Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson.
Oh, listen, man. That brother gotta be what? 6'2", 6'3", something like that.
What a race.
250 pounds of straight faggot.
Right.
You get my point? Like, that brother's with all the faggotry. All of it. You know what I mean? That brother, listen, man, that brother has no ounce of grown man in him. You get my point? And his not only did his son lose his salt, you know what I'm saying? But Magic lost his salt.
Right.
Magic lost his salt in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? With all them parties that they was having at the Forum Club and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Partying with the Playboy bunnies that was nothing but devils. You get my point? Magic gave his salt away. You get my point? Somebody give me another example of a brother or anyone who lost their salt.
Will Smith's son too.
Oh man, listen, Will Smith too though.
Yeah.
You can't mention Will Smith's son without mentioning Will Smith. You get my point? That brother has no salt left. You get what I'm saying? Jada Pinkett lost her salt as well. Since you mentioned Will, you can't mention Will without mentioning Jada.
Right.
And go ahead.
Serena Williams.
Y'all following the trend. Y'all get y'all picking up what I'm laying down. Serena Williams. For all them brothers that she ran through, she ended up getting pregnant by a devil. Go ahead.
And her father, when he was alive, tried to keep, they went through so much discrimination in the tennis industry. He had a disdain for white people.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
That was spit on his grave.
Exactly.
The fact that sister went married,
Man.
you know what I'm saying, a white man, in spite of her knowing how her father felt about
You get my point?
And
That's our desires to be like them, superseding who we really are. And that right there is a perfect example of someone losing their salt. Because her father went through hell to put them in a position to be the greatest tennis player the world has ever seen.
Right.
You get my point? And you just shamed your whole family legacy. Now you done had a kid that's gonna take on that white man's last name and then he's gonna reap all the benefits from all your hard work. Instead of you keeping that within the nation. You get what I'm saying? You had your hand up?
No, I said even in mind, thinking.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying? The sister said the whole Smith family, she's right. The brother said Terry Crews. That's an excellent point.
Oh, yeah.
Terry Crews has no salt. None. You knew he didn't have no salt when he did White Chicks.
right.
Because when you look at the movie, and you can say, yeah, it's just a movie, but nah, let me tell you something, man. When you can play that part, you understand, and you play it to that level, it's because there's some reality blended in the thing. That song that's called Blurred Lines, yeah, he was blurring lines for sure. You get my point? Brother say, Umar Johnson, that brother has no soul. Come on with it.
Good one that always people, Lil Wayne.
Oh my God.
Oh, with that Trump.
Come on, man.
Trump
Listen,
and
man.
All the stuff that comes out his mouth.
Sickening, ain't it?
Oh my God.
Absolutely sickening, right? Dennis Rodman. Sister said Dennis Rodman. Brother said Lawrence Fishburne's daughter. Listen, man, she got the porn industry on smash, which I'm finna touch on in a second. Go ahead.
Even Kanye West.
Man, listen, man, Kanye West is one of the worst. You get my point? And why are all these brothers and sisters that we mentioned, why are they like that? Somebody read the second half of Ecclesiastes 7 and 7. Just the second half. If y'all want to understand why these brothers and sisters are in the condition that they in, you want to know why they lost their salt, somebody read the second half of Ecclesiastes 7 and 7. And that'll answer the question for you.
God, the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 7.
Uh-huh.
And a gift destroyeth the heart.
And a what?
And a gift destroyeth the heart.
And a what?
And a gift destroyeth the heart.
And a gift destroyed the heart. What is that gift? Doing white chicks.
Yeah.
Right? Sitting at the dinner table with Trump. You get my point? Owning part of the Dodgers, because you mentioned Magic Johnson. You had your hand up?
I was going to say, like the contracts that they sign with these people.
Right. Like the sister said earlier, the music industry. You get what I'm saying? And all that goes into that. Hey, since you got to break it down for me, young jock, what do you got going on? the sister that said Young Jock, break down Young Jock. What the hell he done did, right? But the thing about it is though, that gift destroys the heart. You get my point? And these gifts are being on TV. You know what I'm saying? You know why Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion was willing to make that song, that WAP song? Why? Because the gift of the millions of dollars and the millions of views, and everybody lusting after them. The allure of that is why they was able to make a song like that. And you know what's so messed up about that is they would never teach their daughters to be like that. You know what I'm saying? Another brother that lost his soul, you know what I'm saying, is Young Jeezy. He make all that trap music, but yet he made sure his son graduated from college.
Right.
Not only that, but he married a heathen. You know what I'm saying? Now his sons are Israel. You know what I'm saying? But he gave his salt away by marrying that heathen. You get my point? Anybody had their hand up over here?
I'll throw one more in.
Go ahead.
I'll do Brother Polite.
Oh, please. That's a perfect example.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, man, that brother right there, boy. Anybody that fucks with the conscious community, you lost your salt. Salt gone. You get my point? The sister say Jamie Foxx, that's another one. I seen this video, man, when Jamie Foxx was talking to what's that light skinned what's that light skinned singer?
Trey Songz?
No, it was before Trey Songz. Not Bob Marley. What's Bob Marley's son name?
Damian Marley.
Yeah, I want to say it was him. I can't remember. Either way, he was talking to this light skinned dude, right? And how can I say this without being so graphic, right? Like he's making it seem like he's joking, and people was laughing, but at the same time, he like, man, I want to fuck him. This was Jamie Foxx talking to someone.
Oh no, he was
Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
Lenny Kravitz. So you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
so he made it like he was joking, but you could tell from the way he was looking at him that he wasn't joking. Yeah. He was looking that man in the eye and looking that man in his eye and told him that he wanted to fuck him. You get my point? So like for the graphic, the graphic tone, but I'm trying to make a point.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? When you lose your salt, you're willing to as a man, you're willing to look another man in the eye and tell him that you want to have sex with him. You know what I'm saying? Changing the screen to look more feminine. Oh, I haven't seen that brother. I didn't even know Young Jock was still in the game. So, and the thing is though, right? Since the reason why that brother was willing to change his appearance to look more feminine with his hair and nail polish is, read the second part of Ecclesiastes 7:7 again.
And a gift destroyeth the heart.
That's why Young Jock changed his appearance and now he looks like a female. That's why Lil Nas X does what he does.
Oh man.
You get my point? Because the gift destroyeth the heart. I'll do anything for a buck. You get my point? That's the mentality of Israel. Why? Because we lost our salt. Without that salt, we have no integrity. You get my point? What's another? Okay. Go ahead.
Young Thug.
I don't really know nothing about the brother.
Young Thug? Oh.
Nah, what break it down.
I'll let him, you want to break it down? Go ahead.
I don't know nothing about it. What's going on with him?
Yeah, he was like one of the first rappers coming out of Atlanta that was wearing like dresses and stuff like that.
Oh, that's his name?
Yeah.
I seen the dude that was on the red carpet, right, at some award shows.
Yeah,
I never knew his name. I know what you're talking about.
Dresses and calling men bae and all that stuff.
Like, think about that for a second, man. Just a grown ass man. You get my point? Think about that, man. Think about how disgusting that is, right? And then when you go down to a lower scale, right? And not even a lower scale, right? When you take it off the celebrities for a second, right? And you look at our brothers as a whole. I went to the gas station today, right? And this brother, and I hate that he might not be a brother. I don't know. I don't know him. But I'm saying I went into the store to get, to pay for my gas, right? And this brother was dripping with faggotry. Just I mean, you can see the flames, you know what I'm saying, just coursing throughout his body. Just pure faggotry, right? The reason why I'm bringing that up is because that brother gave away his salt. You get what I'm saying? He turned in his salt to get a full tank of sugar.
Oh, wow.
Took y'all a while, but y'all got it. You understand? That's what happened. If you listen, man, when the brother was trying to talk to me, right, and he asked what pump number and all that, he took his mask off and all that. I can't even do it because I'm not a fag, but all his hand movement, it let you know, right? So when he asked what kind of gas I want, I told him 91. He didn't even know what kind of gas I was talking about.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? You got sisters out here that know 87, 89, and 91.
Right.
Not a whole bunch of y'all, but that's okay. You get my point? The fact of the matter is this brother works at the gas station, but because he's so dipped in faggotry, he didn't even know when I said 91, he didn't know what the hell I was talking about. You get what I'm saying? So when you oh yeah, I forgot. The Toss of War brought up, I seen that video. I seen that tape of Lil Wayne and Baby kissing. Y'all seen that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What about who did Puff Daddy kiss on stage? Was it Rick Ross? I seen Puff Daddy kiss somebody on stage at some award show, man.
Kevin Hart did too. Kevin Hart kissed Sluggard on Make.
Nah, go ahead.
The Rock and that, I said about that up last week.
Yeah.
Central Intelligence.
Central Intelligence. I never seen that movie because I'm not a big Kevin Hart fan.
Me either.
You know what I mean? The brother, he's okay in movies. His stand-up is trash to me. It really is. You get my point? Go ahead.
I was gonna say on that too, Slovakia. Mike Epps even went on an interview, and they was because they said like Mike Epps was hating on Kevin Hart, and he said something about like how he getting famous. Like he was like talking about how the oppressor got his hands all down his pants and stuff like that.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. But
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Like,
right.
He said, so if you watch the interview, you talk about it, and he make a quote about how, you know what I'm saying, you get money or whatever, you're successful, but you got a white man hand on your pants. Basically, exposing them. Right. And you know, like, you letting them do all type of gay stuff to you, just for you to get to that point.
Right. And what you're saying is heavy, right? Because the thing about it is, right, at the end of the day, they justify by saying, but I'm paid.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? I'm living over here and you living down there. You get what I'm saying? I'm able to drive this kind of car, you on the bus. You get what I'm saying? Why do you think all these niggas be trying to justify what they do by saying it ain't tricking if you got it? Nah, nigga, it's tricking. You just got a little bit more money than the rest of them, but nigga, it's still tricking. I don't give a fuck what you say, nigga, you're tricking.
Right.
You get my point? When you go to the strip club, nigga, you just throwing bands in the air, nigga, you tricking.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? You paying for her to get through college. You get my point? But in reality, my nigga, you long range tricking. You get what I'm saying? That's the reality of it, no matter how you want to look at it. You get what I'm saying? And so they try to justify it by pointing out their cars and their houses and their jewelry, right? But what good is it when you got to look in the mirror and know you some goddamn punk?
Right.
What good is it to look in the mirror and know you some slut? Right. To know that you ain't nothing but a toss-up until they get tired of running through you and they find somebody that's 5 years younger than you and got a little bit more body than you. Speaking on the music industry, not just the music industry, but entertainment. How do you think Harvey Weinstein got to the level that he got to? Right. You know what I'm saying? By running through them nasty ass sluts. You get my point? You had your hand up?
No, I was just gonna say it just made me think of if y'all ever get a chance to watch Kanye West, he did a concert like back in the day where he kind of made a rap about how he sold his soul to the devil. Mm-hmm. And he said, and his verse was like, I sold my soul to the devil. Mm. I know it was a crappy deal. Yeah. At least it came with a couple of toys, like a Happy Meal. So basically he's saying he sold his soul to the devil. Right. And the white people, you know what I'm saying? Right. Being for sale and what like you said, willing to do anything just to say, I'm Kanye West, I'm a billionaire.
See what I'm saying?
But he knew that it was a crappy deal because it's evil. He has to be something that he really don't want to be. Exactly. But it comes with the gift that you talk about is destroyed him as a person. Right. So he like, well, at least I got money for it. Exactly. And that was crazy that he acknowledged that. I've never seen a celebrity really come out like that.
And that's how they try to justify it because he probably don't really believe in nothing Trump talking about. Right. But he still put that goddamn hat on and put that funny nose and glasses on like a clown. Right. Because he's looking at like, well, I got to put this Make America Great Again hat on, and I got to sit here and take these pictures with Trump. But at least when I leave here, I get in a $500,000 car. Right. And I'm going home to my $5 million house. You get my point? And that's how they try to justify it. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, and the sister said all these transgender men and women by getting sex changes. And that's the thing, right? That's the thing. When you allow yourself to go through a sex change, if you Black, Hispanic, or Native American, you've given up all your soul. You get what I'm saying? Like the Most High created you to be a man, He created you to be a woman. He did not create you so that you can swap body parts. You get what I'm saying? Like if the Most High wanted you to be a woman, He would have made you a woman. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And so when you look at that, and when you look at society as a whole, right? Every time we say, well, society says it's okay or it's legal now, we give our salt away. You get my point? You got sisters that's walking around right now, right? I don't know about y'all, but when, you know what I'm saying? But me, when I'm scrolling through Facebook, right, every now and then some advertisements for Wish pop up, right? Which ain't nothing wrong with that. That's fine. The problem is that the Wish advertisement that I get is some sister in some little ass shorts, or she got on some leopard tights, or she got on some goddamn pajamas with the flap that you can take down in the back and things like that. You get my point? That's an example of losing your salt because you're allowing yourself to be portrayed as a whore. You're allowing the world to see your body that only your man should be seeing. You get my point? Right. You got sisters that's walking around in the summertime, right, with shorts on so little they look like underwear. You get my point? Sisters have no shame. You get what I'm saying? When you're willing to walk around like that, when you're willing to dye your hair blonde, when you're willing to put them big ass eyelashes on that go from here to this fucking garage, you understand? You've given away all your salt. You get my point? When you're willing to change your voice up so that you can blend in with everybody else, you've given your salt away. You get my point? The Most High made us better than everybody else. You get what I'm saying? We don't need to sell out for nothing or nobody. Right. You get what I'm saying? If we followed the law, statutes, and commandments, and was the men and women that the Most High called us to be, we wouldn't have to worry about nothing. We'd be on top and we'd be ruling over everyone. You get what I'm saying? Caitlyn Jenner, you know what I'm saying? Even though he's a devil, but that was the pulling of the strings. Let's throw him out there. Let's love and embrace him. Because if we love and embrace him, what'll happen? If society loved and accepted Caitlyn Jenner, what's going to happen? Obviously.
They're going to accept transsexuals in general.
Specifically?
They're going to accept, interracial marriages? No,
not that. Well, that too, but us as being transsexual or transgender, whatever the hell he identifies himself as. What they dangling him out there so that you get my point? Think about it, right? They use Michael Sam, that football player that played at the University of Missouri. I mean, this brother was a hell of a defensive end. You know what I'm saying? But that defensive end is twofold. Right. Because the defensive end on the football field, he wasn't so much of a defensive end off the football field. He was giving up a lot of end off the field. Right. You get my point? Y'all figure that out on your own. You know what I'm saying? The sisters say society's gonna follow, and that's why they use us as pawns. And they'll throw Caitlyn Jenner out there. This brother came out and said he was gay, and all of a sudden you just open the floodgates. Or the gay gates. Whatever word y'all want to use. The bottom line is, that's what happened. All it takes is one. Right. And because we lost sheep, we're going to follow. Come on with it.
No, what you're bringing out is so heavy. I just want to add and say that, like you said, they know that we make everything pop. Uh-huh. So everything that's against the Most High, they use us to be the face of it. If you look at from, like the sister brought out with the music industry. Right. Music has become so much. It started with the NWA, the vulgarness, right? Talking about bitches and hoes and
2 Live Crew, the whole get down, yeah, absolutely,
yeah. But then it magnified once they saw, this industry is so popular. Now we can get everybody. Now you got little girls twerking in church.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's getting to the point where your kids are being subjected to the wickedness at an early age.
Right.
Before, remember, everything back in the day used to be censored. You
Right.
couldn't even see certain things on TV.
Right.
Now they're letting you watching two men kiss.
Yep.
They're always putting a black woman with a white man
Yeah.
on TV, or vice
Yeah.
versa.
That's
or
100.
A black man with
Yeah.
a white woman.
Yep.
They're giving you all of this, what we would call putting spells
Right.
on people. Yeah, and sending out these visuals and this
Right.
content to get us to pay attention, because when you see a celebrity or somebody of high stature
Right.
in a high place that's, you know what I'm saying, doing these things, you say, well, hell, if Kanye West is gay or
Right.
so and so gay, P. Diddy is accepting homosexuals and
Right.
you know, and all this and that.
Right.
And he's rich. I'm poor and struggling from the ghetto. I want to be rich. Well, I guess there's nothing wrong with having homosexuals around you, or this person being a certain way. Or if you see, you know, the Gucci mans or whoever promote drug activities or drug dealing,
Right.
even though these niggas never really didn't sell drugs
Man.
like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Then they making music to make you want to go sell drugs, because you're saying, well, hell, if they could sell drugs and become rich and famous behind it, then I can do it too. You know what I'm saying? They give us these, you know, 1 and 2, you know, a handful of people from our societies that make it from the. I think the generals brought out. They always put the worst of our people and prop them up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They put them out there on that pedestal for us to follow.
Yeah.
Because we being that salt, like you said,
Mhm.
we're a sheep-like people. We need a shepherd.
Right.
So because Yahushua is in here and we read about him in these scriptures, and the pastor don't know how to break down these scriptures, and they're misleading us. Now you got all these other shepherds that's rising up. You understand? It's wicked. It's teaching our kids, like you said, the Michael Sam's, if you want to play football, the Jason Collins.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Basketball.
Yep. No, that's 100.
It's gay white football players. It's gay white basketball players.
Right.
But the black man has to be the face of.
Right.
Sports.
Now that's 100. Now that's 100. Nah, what you brought up was 100. It was super heavy. The sister mentioned Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, who we spoke on earlier.
Right.
Perfect example. That's why they made the song that they made, and that's why they're doing the things that they do. Because what that does is it sets the trend, and what ends up happening is little girls all over the place end up losing their salt. Why? Looking up to two sisters who lost their salt. You get my point? Come on with it.
I just wanted to add on to what Officer McCarr was saying, because that was so heavy. You know, not only we have to be the face for homosexuality in like sports,
Right.
everything else.
Right.
It's the same thing with these Christian pastors in the churches
Right.
and whatnot.
Right.
Nobody else gets exposed for being a homosexual
Right.
except for us.
Right.
But we know damn well all them white pastors is gay too.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, you got the damn Catholic priests,
Oh,
but that's basically in and out news.
Right.
You know, we talk about it for a weekend
Right.
and then it's gone. But let it be a brother in a in a Christian church or whatever, getting caught up in a scandal like that, and we talking about that for a good hot minute.
Yeah. No, that's 100, right? So we're gonna end it on the scripture right here, right? Because everything that y'all said and everything that y'all been saying, when we talk about all these things, we're gonna tie it up right here. Let me get Psalm chapter 83, verse 3. We're gonna wrap it up with this right here. Let's get that. Whoever just read it as soon as you got it.
God. The book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel.
They have done what?
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden
And
ones.
what's the consultation that they've done? By pushing a homosexual agenda.
Right.
You get my point? By pushing, you know what I'm saying? If he not treating you right, just leave him. You know what I mean? All these movies that show you, right? They show the dude, they show the sister that's in a relationship and she's stressed out and she's miserable and all these things. And here come this cat on this white knight that come through. He said all the kind things. He said all the smooth shit. Next thing you know, she leaves him for this man and everybody applauds him. You get my point?
Right.
That's consulting against us. You know what I'm saying? Let's push that divorce is lawful. You know what I'm saying? Let's push homosexuality. Let's push being a transgender is okay. Let's push, you know what I'm saying, that it's okay to smoke. Let's legalize marijuana.
Right.
You get my point? Keep reading.
All right, kind of like verse 4. They have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation."
They did what?
Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
How is the name of Israel no longer in remembrance? All right.
When we ain't following the law, statutes, commandments, I mean, the Most High ain't gonna be dealing with us. So as long as they got us following them, and we the face of homosexuality, in the face of drugs and everything else, they're not gonna remember us as Israel. We're remembered as the bywords that they call us now.
Very true. Also, you asked
I was gonna say we no longer call, like you said, Jews or a peculiar
peculiar people. Got you.
We're known as, like you said, those bywords of Negro,
Right.
niggas,
Right.
thugs, spicks, wetbacks. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All of these names, they changed our name from that prestige that we had in these scriptures.
That's 100. You asked something?
Yeah, to piggyback off of what the two officers said, colored, Negro,
Right.
African American, all of the above.
Nah, that's 100.
Negroes for African Americans for only 30 years.
Yeah, that's 100. You asked something, sis?
Could it be that they know that the Father will destroy us?
Yeah, they know. They know. That's why they're doing it. Because they want to be in charge. They want to run things, and that's why they're able to run things, right? You want to
I
ask
was
them?
gonna say, is it that, like, to piggyback what y'all saying, is it that they know, what they think in their mind that they're gonna continue forever as long as they have us sit, because they know that our power is in us keeping these law, statutes,
Right.
and commandments.
Right.
So they promote us to sin,
Right.
knowing like, well, if we can keep them at the bottom, the way to keep the children of Israel at the bottom is to keep them going against their God.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
And now, therefore, they can rule over us forever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As long as we're sinning forever.
Right. And that's why we pulled these two scriptures. It says, "Let us cut them off from being a nation." You get my point? That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Right. So to sum up everything that y'all just said, right? To sum all that up, right? They cut us off from being a nation, right? That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. In the midst of them doing all that, what is it that they take from us by them doing all that?
It took our identity.
Yes, but no.
The salt.
Get that brother a hand. You understand? By them taking the name of Israel from us, we no longer have our salt. That's why we're into all these different forms of wickedness. You understand? Without us being Israel, we have no salt. And without no salt, you understand, we're under the foot of the white man. And with us being under the foot of the white man, you understand, we'll celebrate Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, and all these other things. You understand? You want to get your salt back, come back to these law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? You want to learn these law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? Come into the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana. You understand? And with that, pass the class over to priest and officer Iraq.
ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashara, which means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give the Treasury Department or teacher priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upholding convocations, we got the Passover April 24th. Salakia. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black. Boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the teacher. So men of Israel, Amazon Shabbat, Amazon, Barak, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Barakatah. All right, men of Israel, we're going to turn and face the sister. We're going to give the sister a courteous salute. Amazon Shabbat, Amazon, Barak, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua.
Put your feet at a 45-degree angle. Cup your hands like this. Yahweh, Shamar, Elatah, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai.
And with that, class dismissed.